Hello, my trash pandas. Today, I'm pretty excited about today, actually. I'm not sure what this video is going to look like by the end of it. All I'm sure of is I have a bunch of stuff to get done, and you guys are coming with. Most of it is scrap related, some of it is video game related. So for those of you who have been looking forward to that, Julie, we should be able to fit some of that in. It's gonna start with these things. I know I said I wasn't gonna, please be easy, please be easy, please be easy. Yes, it's easy. We need a steel bin. Perfect. I know I said I wasn't gonna share this, but there's a few things that's... Ooh, it's hot. There's a couple things that I think are interesting, and I want to find out what exactly these things are made of, so might as well share that. Ooh, it's gonna be a noisy one. Stuff like this. Isn't that a cool switch? I've never seen one like this before. It makes sense. Most of them are plastic, but this is the design you'd go with if you wanted something that would last a little longer. Motor. Okay. This is going to be one of those is it worth it mysteries, because I don't know if they're even going to give me a clean price for it. Ooh. Welcome back. So I've gotten these to the point where I'm satisfied. What does that mean exactly? Well, perfect opportunity to point out one of the earliest and most important lessons in scrap metal, and that is to know when you're beaten. To know when to throw in the towel. See, here. Over here we see the pile of clean aluminum. That, and that. Over here we see the aluminum breakage. Volume-wise, I only managed to remove between 1/3 and 1/2 of all of the aluminum, but you know what? I'll show you here. It's these things here. See that? That has to go through there. It runs all the way down and attaches to the fans, the blower fans that are attached in there. So what's the problem? Well, the drive shaft is just way too fused to the zinc aluminum alloy plate that holds the whole thing on there. I tried every method I could think of right here, and the truth is there's no world where I can remove those quickly enough to get good value for my time. So aluminum breakage, and that's fine. We're not admitting defeat, we're just admitting learning. Anyways, we also got a little bit of number 2, a box of BX cable, and 6 decent sized motors, as well as a small bit of number 1 insulated wire. Am I going to break down the motors? I'll be honest, I'm not sure. They're decent size, and I'd probably increase my, what did we conclude? It was like $10 for that giant compressor, but I think it's a little bit less than that for a regular motor. The fact that I've got 6 of them, I could line them all up and I'd make an extra $50, so if I could get through all of them in an hour and a half, that's not bad, but do I feel like doing it? Do I feel like just having the space back? I'm not sure. I'm a lot more interested in getting rid of the giant aluminum pieces, as well as other things. However, we need to go and pick something up first. Check it out. A gift from a new friend. Thank you, Kevin. This is going to work great on our wire stripper. And now I don't have to burn out my my cordless drill that I love so very, very much. He also brought in his first load of scrap, and it seems like Federal Metals is paying $275 for chromed brass. I need to cross-check my, hold on, greasy lens. I need to cross-check what we just got paid, because I definitely forgot, but I don't think it was $275. I think it was like $175. Gonna have to find out. Anyway, there's actually something else, an unexpected pickup. Oh yeah, Smasher came through. What a legend. We hung out for a bit. I'm really enjoying... God, just there's so much to be grateful for. And then... this. What is this? I have no idea. I love my life. There's something in this, and it's from one of you, and I never feel like I can say thank you enough. Cable cutters. Okay, this is sweet. These look good. This is going to be so nice because those giant ones, yes, the leverage is fantastic, but it can be kind of annoying to have to pick them up and like arrange them. These are awesome. Let's go find something to cut. I think we might already have something. Okay. Now, what's next? Oh. Here, I think I know. Ha-ha! So, it's a video game pickup. My boy Corbin hooked it up again. Gosh, I can't imagine how much he saved me on shipping fees. We'll cover that a bit later. I want to circle back to that because that's not the only addition to the gaming setup, as it might be someday. What's next? You know what? We gotta get rid of some of the stuff that's cluttering. Yeah. And I just stopped off the old place to pick up all the mail. It's been a minute. This is not all mine. So, with just enough time to make it to Wings, this has been a very productive evening. Thanks for keeping me company. We're not done yet, though. We got some work to do. Yeah, we gotta make some space. I'm gonna bring in. Get rid of that now. Whole truckload. Let's cash this out. All right, $76.75. So that was $10 for the BX cable. That was $52.50 for the clean aluminum, and 206 pounds of heavy dirty aluminum at 7 cents a pound for $14.42. I do feel like I could have gotten more for that if I went to the other place, but the point is, I didn't want to put more effort into cleaning it. I didn't feel capable, and that's just what it is. Let's go home and check the other prices, because there's a couple prices I want to compare. We'll do that. We'll get to that. And now, got another pile of junk to load up. All that. Goodness. Gonna do our best, I guess. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to fit all that in. We did it. Got it all in. That bike there, it's a nice aluminum frame, pretty comfy seat, everything seems to work. So I might actually just try and give it the little bit of TLC it needs, and then maybe I'll have a nice bike, or maybe I'll sell it. All right, just got back from camping actually. A little loud. So now we need to really quickly get a head start on some of this junk, because that's sort of a lot and I wasn't expecting it. You know what, it's gotta go soon. I don't think that's gonna be a ton of fun for you guys to watch, so I'm just gonna do it myself, and I will talk to you in a bit. Well, it took longer than I wanted, and although I would have liked to have all the non-ferrous and the ferrous in here and just take the non-ferrous up to the 1 yard and then load up on paint cans on the way back down, that's not how it worked out. Turns out we've got too much steel to do that, so I'm actually gonna have to do 2 runs to complete this inventory management. I did check out the prices, and my man Kevin was getting $2.75 a pound on the on chrome brass and federal metals, at the same time that I brought in that large pile recently, and I got $245 for yellow brass. So I would have made an extra 30 bucks at Federal Metals, and there is a reason to keep them separated depending on where you're taking them. But there is still value in being able to just throw it all into one bin and get the yellow brass price, even if the yellow brass price is a little bit lower. So, just good information to know. I'm probably going to continue to bring most stuff to my favorite 2 yards, but next time I have 200 pounds of brass, that'll be a good reminder to call around. Well, price of steel is the same. 400 pounds of prep and 370 pounds of shred. Got a 77.60. That's enough for a tank of gas. Now, the important stuff. Well, okay, steel's important. And bam, just like that. So what I'm looking forward to finding out is, number one, what is the copper worth, and is it worth keeping 3 bins, or can I have fewer bins? I've got new copper and then clean copper that's like used and grimy but doesn't have any solder, and then the stuff that has the solder on it, the number 2. What else was I curious about? Well, basically that and what the stainless steel cylinders are worth. There's roughly a third of them there. Let's go find out. Okay, we're full of paint cans back there. I'm going to push it. I think I should be able to make it to the scrapyard and just dump them, because it's easy, it's fast. It's one material, just roll in, weigh, throw them, come back and weigh. I've only got 25 minutes till 5 o'clock, but I'm crossing my fingers. I think we can do it. Let's go! Change in plan. We actually made it. Yeah, it is 5 o'clock now. Well, it's 5:06 now because I stopped to ask some questions. Specifically, I stopped to ask some questions about stainless steel cylinders with a hazardous sticker on them, because that's one thing that came up when I was up at the other spot. Is the buyer there, I apologize if you guys are bouncy, I'll have to try and stabilize it later, because the buyer there, or at least the guy, the important guy at the scales, he took one look at that and he did not like it at all. He said, I don't think we want anything to do with that, which is fair. So, you know, because I was here, I wanted to ask him, and he said, no, like you can see all the way through the cylinders, one end to the other. Like, no, I don't see a problem with that. It's just metal at that point, right? So, yeah, that was a bit of a relief. I was worried I was going to have a heck of a time trying to sell them, which is great. I just need to be super careful when removing the tops off of the other ones, because you never know. This one was interesting though. We got $24.80, so like 25 bucks for a truck filled with the paint cans. How many? So those 310 pounds of them. It's really not that bad. It's difficult to justify a full trip, but yeah, so in and of itself that'd be pretty disappointing, but added into a part of a day, not too bad. Oh goodness, the roads right now. So there was a pretty nasty crash on the way we were headed before, but it was like right in front of us. I just couldn't see because I was on a hill and like a whole bunch of cars backed up. But we managed to scooch around that pretty quickly and zip here just in time. So I've actually got a couple other pickups tonight, but I'm only going to share one of them, the one that we're heading to right now, because I think it's particularly cool, and it makes a good segue to how I would like to end this video, for those of you who might be interested. In the meantime, though, we do have $475 from that big load. Specifically, it's $66 in radiators. Cool. Cool. We had $172 in clean number 1 copper pipe and $68.80 in copper number 2. So I only need 2 bins. The new copper and the clean copper both went in as copper number 1. So that's one less bucket I need to keep, which is kind of cool. Although I might still have to keep one just for long pieces of pipe. Not super common. And then I got 70 cents for 10 pounds of aluminum breakage, which is fine, because it's better than a kick in the bag. And then my clean 304 stainless was all of the other junky little bits off of barbecues and such. That was $13.50 for, yeah, they did give me clean for that sink and the couple pieces of barbecue flashing. Clean cast aluminum, we got $44.40 for 4 aluminum barbecue shells, and then batteries, we got 34 cents a pound for batteries, but I only had 320 pounds of them, so we got $108 there. I did think the batteries were going to be more, but it wasn't that big of a stack of them, and it's hard to argue with $108. Yeah, overall, that's quite a bit we managed to add to the funds. Not all of which is going to the summer fund, because I do have, you know, other responsibilities. Now, I want to introduce you to somebody I met. We're heading to his place now, and he has... So I've been there once before, and I was blown away by his collection of vintage electronics. What first caught my eye were the gold chips, the CPUs and stuff, but his interest is not in their scrap value, not at all. No, if I am the death of metals and electronics, then he is one that gives them life. He's got all this equipment to like restore things, to like tinker with them and like get them to their optimum, like the pattern generator. And that's why I went over there in the first place. I brought this CRT television, which is not a good one. It's just one that I really like the style of, and I think I actually found it in a video way back when. I'm not sure, but I found it in an alley and I really like the retro styling on it. So I've been enjoying playing some retro games on it lately, and I wanted to make sure it was running at its optimum effectiveness. It's not, and because it's such a consumer grade model, you know, very affordable when it was made, it doesn't really have a lot of features or adjustability or any of the things that he was clearly looking for on the inside. Unfortunately, he was unable to modify it in a safe and reliable way to have the composite input, which is kind of what I was hoping for, because right now it's just RF input. So that didn't work out, but that's okay, because it's still a great TV. And I got to meet a really cool new friend. We'll see how this goes. I might have more to share. I might just fill it with creamy B-roll, but he also has a YouTube channel, so I'm gonna link one of his videos because I think they are super good. Okay, the one I watched was, and I can't wait to explore the rest of his channel. So the quality that he's putting out has a criminally low amount of views. So if you guys want to go check that out, I think you would be glad you did. Okay. There she is, back safe and sound. I was really excited to see how good the picture on this thing could get after a professional took a look at it. But with the composite mod not actually working out, it's basically destined to only ever have the RF input, which is fine for it because it's got its own unique retro aesthetic, and I really like that. But unfortunately, it set me on a path that might have been a mistake, but I now have a new thing to add to the retro gaming setup, as such that it is. Feast your eyes on this beauty, this behemoth. This is the 27-inch Sony Trinitron FV27KV300. I think I've got the FV and the KV in the right order there. Not totally sure. So I got this for free with the original stand and the original remote. Now, for the uninitiated, this is considered to be right near the pinnacle of CRT technology. The only way you would get better than this is if you got a PVM, which are very expensive and hard to find these days, or the 310 model, which actually had a digital input. You could get one of these with an HDMI or VGA input, so you could do digital signals. It also doesn't do progressive scan, and it's also not widescreen, so it depends on your intended usage. If somebody wanted something for the absolute best movie experience, you might want something with a digital input, progressive scan, and widescreen. You also might want something a little bit bigger, but I wanted less than 30 inches. I mean, a 20-inch would have been pretty cool, but the 27-inch I think is just about right, because it's about as big as I could comfortably manage without being worried I was going to crack the earth beneath it. This thing is not actually stupid heavy. It's got a lot of great features though, including, like, among the absolute best picture you can get for retro gaming, stereo sound, and a built-in subwoofer. Yeah, so this is the perfect thing to just sort of have on its own, standing tall and strong without having to add a whole bunch of, like, I don't want to set up an advanced stereo system. I think this will work just great for the, you know, the chill retro gaming space, which I have wanted to put together because some of you, Julie in particular, I have been asked to share the game space, the game collection, and unfortunately I'm not really able to do that because I don't have one set up. And to be honest, I don't plan on prioritizing that because I would just kind of be rushing to put it together to have something to show off, and that's not really what I'm doing. And if it wasn't obvious already, I want to take this time to talk about video games. So if you have no interest in that in any way, then thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you on the next one. But I have been wondering how exactly to go about this for a little while now. So much so that I am re-recording this in a completely different outfit because I wasn't happy with the way it turned out yet. I went back and forth, and I don't think there's any value in showing off a massive collection of valuable titles. I've seen those, they're kind of boring, I don't watch them. I'm sure people do, but for me, I thought it would be more fun, because this isn't really a video game channel and it is such a massive subject that you can just go on and on and on about. I didn't know how I would add any value other than just sharing my personal experience and where I'm at with that. And that leads into why I didn't want to rush to, like, set something up just to show it off to you guys, because I do have the means to set up a sick gaming room, but what I'm doing rather is piecing together something slowly as a hobby for my son and myself to enjoy, and I think we're both really enjoying doing that, just setting things up as we're using them and kind of feeling it out and making something work for us. And I am so grateful to be able to enjoy that side of things, because I had my experience, my growing up with video games and, like, playing them with friends and going over to friends' houses, and the nostalgia is strong, but that it's not coming back. You know, can't cross the same river twice or whatever. And I don't feel any powerful drive to collect all of the games for a certain console, or all the variants of a certain console, or put them all in glass cases and show them off, or anything like that. And, you know, nothing against people who are doing that. That's cool. But the amount of coverage that it's gotten for, it seems like what most people are thinking about when they look at video games in the thrift store or in yard sales is, these are worth some money. And that's kind of, I feel like all the reselling and entrepreneur porn has kind of ruined it. Not that there was anything that could have been done to avoid it, but that's what people think when they look at retro games. And that's not what I think when I look at retro games, but it's not, we can't change it back. We can't put it back in the box. So it's pretty cool that I was able to experience it the way I did. But nobody is going to get to find an NES or an SNES with a stack of games and a whole bunch of controllers and everything in the box for like, you know, $20 at a garage sale anymore, because everybody knows, hey, these games can be worth hundreds of dollars. And, you know, I don't mean to complain or anything. I just think it kind of sucks that that experience is no longer available for anybody else. So I'm just glad I'm able to experience video games in this new way for me, and that is sharing them with my kiddo. It does feel like a lot of the video game discourse and a lot of the videos and things are all about the dollar value and the flexing and showing off these like stacks of expensive games. But it doesn't, it sucks, but it's honestly kind of okay, because for anybody who's like looking at getting into retro game collecting, this is a pain in the butt, okay? And it is not worth it unless you have some nostalgia for it. And something to play on it that is improved by that. Thankfully, we have all those like classic mini consoles, and I think those are the greatest thing to ever happen in a long time for video games. I've got the Genesis, the PlayStation, the SNES, and the NES, and those make way more sense because not only do I not have to pay ridiculous prices for the games, but I don't have to store them. And as much joy as having that physical media is, it is a pain. You know, I don't want a giant library of walls of games that I rarely get to play. Oh, and you can get the mode hardware mod for the Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast, which are like, I'm saving my pennies for that. I definitely want one of those, and probably the GDMU for the Dreamcast, because I don't want to pay those prices. That's stupid. For me. Go ahead, but for me, I do still get to enjoy video games in a slightly modified, grown-up, different way. And I figured that the TV pickup and the game pickup would be a great way to segue into that. If anybody wants to like really get down, maybe I could do a live and we could all like hang out and have a little back and forth, and that might be fun, like a video game related live. It might be a great excuse to spend some time actually setting some stuff up. So I'm going to quickly run through the video games I just picked up, and I think they all make a pretty good example of the 4 different aspects that, you know, represent my video game collecting these days. That would be video games as art, video games as shared experiences, a little bit of nostalgia, and a little bit of an investment opportunity, because that's the reality of video games these days. So here's what I grabbed. My copy of Shantae Risky's Revenge came in. I actually already have this one on the Wii U, but the copy on the Wii U has, I paid $30 for it, and now it's worth $100. This was like, or no, that was the other one. Either way, these games have gone absolutely insane. I'm glad I got them all when they were released and not recently, because holy cow, the Pirate's Curse one on the Switch is worth too much money. And you can beat it in like 6 hours. So if I spent that much, I would be super disappointed. But it is my favorite style of game. A 2D action platformer. You could call them Metroidvanias, like Metroid and Castlevania. If you guys know, you probably know what I'm talking about. I love these styles of games because that's just it. They have a ton of style, and this is what I mean by video games as art, the visuals. I mean, this one's not the greatest example, but let me grab. So I only own 4 PlayStation games, and I put them in DVD cases so that I could fit them on the shelf and they would look pretty. Symphony of the Night, obviously. Valkyrie Profile, because it's gorgeous, and that's my jam. Those, like, that pixel art. This is like the pinnacle of pixel art before everything went 3D. And then Xenogears, which is sort of an in-between. Tons of great pixel art. I still haven't played this one. I'm worried because apparently only the first disc is any good. I still need to get manuals for these. But the nostalgia in those slaps, and the art and the music just bring the whole thing together to really create a foreign world, a different experience that definitely plays to that escapism that I think video games ultimately are really about. Some of my favorite retros, like Mischief Makers and Mystical Ninja on the N64, were just like that. Now, they were 3D games, but okay, Mischief Makers is not. They're just such weird settings that you can just get lost in how much there is to discover. And I think that's probably why video games are so satisfying, is because they really tend to that that human need for exploration and discovery, and that human curiosity. Same as Muramasa, the Demon Blade, one of my favorite, like, definitely, yeah, one of the favorite Wii games that I have. Friggin' incredible, amazing art. The combat system and how many swords you can find and build to play around with, and how fun it is to have, like, your new shiny sword up here on the screen. I don't know. This is actually a sequel to another game which I've yet to open, Odin Sphere. Same thing. I just really love these types of games, the action platformer Metroidvanias with the just gorgeous, colorful, juicy art, and the ever-changing music behind every, like, scene. They are sweet. That is my jam. When I'm playing one-player games, that's the kind of stuff I'm into. Another one, Fragile Dreams on the Wii. It's kind of weird. It's pretty slow. So it's definitely an art house sort of a piece. I'm glad I picked this up for super cheap. I paid like $15 on eBay. It is selling for a lot more than that now. That's also part of the reason why I do this, because chasing them down in their original box is way more expensive and not really necessary, especially when it comes to handhelds. Like Game Boy games, they came in those cardboard boxes. Some people are super into that, but I could not possibly afford it. Besides, most of my games I don't have the boxes for anyway, so why would I want to start? I'd rather just put them into their own custom DS cases, just like the DVD cases for these ones. The only ones in box I have are the new ones. There are people really smashing that, like, retro appeal by releasing new games on old consoles. Most recent pickup on the Game Boy, Sound Voyager from the Bit Generations series. I'm not going to get right into it, just like look up Bit Generations, but this one really hit me as a super unique, one-of-a-kind sort of experience. Not the sort of thing that you'll be able to find anywhere else, so that's why I had to grab this. Not with the box. That's stupid. Similar to Fragile Dreams, it's weird, and that's what I like about it. The other one I picked up, Scott Pilgrim. I actually got 2 copies of this, one to rock and one to stock. Yes, I'm part of the problem. I understand that. But that's the landscape these days. Really looking forward to playing this one, not only because I loved the heck out of the comic books. If you've only seen the movie, definitely read the books. They are... like, the movie is fine. It didn't really do it for me. Reason why I was looking forward to this one so much is because even though I don't like beat-em-ups, generally speaking, one game on the Switch changed my opinion completely, and that was River City Girls. Because this thing, wow, so much fun. So many, like, it's got like RPG elements, and you're always like buying different foods to give yourself permanent upgrades, and like buying different moves, and they're always cool and fun and pretty easy to combo together, but you really get to know your character to the point where, like, you wouldn't want to switch to the other person's character because you'd be clueless, and it's kind of like their thing. Plus, it's got a cameo from Jacksepticeye. He plays a character in this game, and it's hilarious. So yeah, beat 'em ups, and that's my other big draw in video games, is shared experiences, which is sort of what I'm doing this whole thing for. I just want to have a good setup to sit down and really enjoy something, like cooperative or, you know, single player but shared, like Resident Evil Village. I don't care what people say, this thing was awesome. I loved the way it changed tone throughout. It went from like super scary to like tons of action, and I thought that was great fun. They really crafted a varied experience. But shared experiences, like another one, this is a one-player one, this is one of the pickups, What the Golf? We waited for this one for like a year, which is the problem with all of these limited run things that I jump in on group orders for. But it was worth it. It's so funny. And it's constantly doing things that are surprising, and just, you know, sitting down and doing a hot seat, sharing the controller with this one, has been loads of fun with the kiddo. I've got some other examples of ones that I've had a ton of fun with, he and I, and I'll go through them really quickly. Like, Sackboy is pretty cool. This is the first time I've ever, like, played a Little Big Planet game, because I don't really like sandbox games. I like games that, like, want to point me in a direction, not just, like, give me a box of Lego and tell me to have fun, because I don't know how to do that. Not in a video game. My creativity comes in other ways. But this one, pretty cool. Slime Rancher is another one-player one that he saw some streamers playing, and he was like, we gotta get that one. No, we gotta get that one. It's really good. And I was like, okay, it looks pretty basic, but let's... No, it's... I find myself thinking about this game random times when I'm walking around, which is weird, but it definitely made an impact. That was great. And, like, it doesn't have to be a good game, right? There are some cheap, kind of crappy games that we've had an amazing time with, like the Munchables. This one, I paid $2 for it. Now it's worth quite a bit more than that, especially with the manual. God, I love having manuals. I wish they still did that. It's short and it's stupid. It's weird, and it's got fart jokes, and you just, like, eat enemies. It's kind of like Katamari Damacy. You, like, grow a little bigger, and you can eat bigger things as you go through. It's not long. The levels aren't long, but we had a great time. I'm going to go back and play that, actually. And then Elebits. It's a release game. It's super basic, but it's also got, like, a Katamari aspect, where the more stuff that you absorb, the more stuff, the bigger stuff you can grab. It's like a first-person shooter Katamari game. Super sleeper hit. Really fun. Anybody who's, like, doing Wii, besides getting one of these to get the best, like, visuals, that one's a must-have. Heavenly Guardian. Totally crappy game. Should have been released on the Super Nintendo, because it's not very up to date, but it's still a super fun twin-stick shooter. Obscure. Terrible game. I've yet to play it, but I can't wait, because it's a co-op horror game on the Wii. Love the Wii for light gun games. This one is, well, they're getting hard to find now, but thankfully I built up my Wii collection when they were all like $10. People were getting rid of them, and at this point they're kind of appreciating in value a bit, so thank God. Anybody who's, like, aiming to build up a collection, I wish you the best. With the Wii, you're kind of running out of time to get them at a good price. I think probably PS3 is the next one where you can still get them cheap, but I didn't play PS3. I don't know anything about it. But then these ones, we probably played the most, and so this one is not worth getting a Wii U for. But it doesn't change the fact that it was super fun for the two of us to, like, go through the levels and try and smash down the, you know, all the massive bosses and upgrade your tanks. I just wish you could upgrade the second player's tank. That's kind of lame. Whatever. Yoshi's Woolly World. I think this is the only reason to still have a Wii U. This is the only one they haven't re-released. Maybe they will, but in my opinion, this is the pinnacle of Yoshi. They're the soft, fuzzy appearance of everything is so cute and so well done. Everything in this game just feels so cozy, and there's, like, different music for every single level. there's so many different types of Yoshis that you can find, and this is way better than the one on the Switch. It's like miles ahead of it. That's just my opinion. If you can, this one. And then probably the game that he and I have enjoyed the most together, like no contest, is definitely Pikmin 3. But the re-release on this one is, it's better because it gives co-op to the entire game. Normally the base game was just one player and then there was a bunch of missions for co-op. Well, we played the mission mode so much, and it's cool because it's not asymmetrical. You're both equal, but like it's not a big deal if one of you is a little more advanced at playing the game than the other, because you can like even out the workload in a sensible way. I think this game developed his hand-eye coordination an insane amount, because at this point he's like equal to me as far as like planning and strategizing and splitting the party and getting tasks done as efficient as possible. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but we loved the crap out of this. We like 100%ed this one, and then when it came out on the Switch, we got it again and 100%ed it again. It's because of that, it's probably my favorite game. Before him, I would have listed something different, like Might and Magic 7 as my favorite game, but now it's this, no question. Do Pikmin 4, Nintendo? You should do Pikmin 4. Now, that was quite the gauntlet. I think these other ones just make some good examples of my personal tastes. Blasphemous got a re-release. That's sweet because it was going up in price and I didn't grab it, so apparently it's quite a good Metroidvania with some roguelite elements. That one's cool. Glad to have it. Bite the Bullet, just another like two-person run and gun, sort of like Contra. Cotton, modern day reboot. This one's really cool because it's got the you can switch to the original art or the modern updated art. It's a cute 'em up, which is like a scrolling shooter, except you play a cutesy anime waifu for some reason. And I love shooters. I love classic shooters. I don't have very many of them because I don't spend... They take a lot of time individually. You know, you really got to get into it and memorize the patterns and like fine-tune your grasp on the controls to get through it. And that's why I love these bullet hell kind of games, because they're very rewarding if you're willing to reach for the high skill ceiling. And I think that's cool, but I don't have the endurance to go through a ton of them. So I really just wait for the cream to rise to the top in terms of scrolling shooters. Which, don't sleep on this one. Speaking of anime waifus, holy cow. People will make fun of you for this game, probably. I expect you to make fun of me for this game. I can't even say the name out loud without wanting to make fun of myself. But the truth is, this game is incredible. Despite the titties, it's possibly because of them. They don't hurt. It's a Metroidvania kind of a platformer with tons of cool stuff to find hidden in walls and all over the place, so your character is constantly upgrading, but all of the bosses, and there are a ton of bosses, have... It's a shooter. It's a bullet hell platformer. And the many bosses all have a ton of different attack patterns and different, like, bullet spiral shape elements for you to memorize and get good at. It's quite challenging and very rewarding, but it balances that challenge by having so much stuff that you can run around and collect if you're having a hard time. That if you can't beat a boss, just cruise around and find some cool stuff hidden in a wall somewhere, or like grind for money and upgrade your... It's a very good game. This is one that I've been playing a lot just recently. And then another one, which is like sort of a subgenre that I really like. I really enjoy rhythm games. The Avicii game. It's a very good game. It's really fun. It's a visual smorg. I don't even like Avicii music that much, but this is a really great place for it. So I wish I had the library set up and the game room set up so I could show it off to all of you, but that's just not how I'm enjoying my... you know, this stage in my enjoyment of video games. So this is the best I can do. And for the couple of you that were interested, I hope this has been, you know, a somewhat satisfying, interesting look into, you know, where I'm at. And yeah, I really enjoy platformers, shooters, slightly nostalgic things, sprite art, music, shared experiences, and horror. I've got like those horror games on the PS2. I am so glad I picked those up when I did, because I would not want to have to buy them now. They've all tripled in value in the past 2 years. And yeah, PS2 isn't the greatest thing to emulate just yet. Maybe we'll get a mini. That would be sick. Okay, this has already gone way longer than I really intended it to. That's what I'm playing. That's where I'm at. Hopefully I'll be able to share having all of my Game Boy games put in their own cool custom cases, and, you know, display my Wii games on a... Now that I actually have something appropriate to play those things on, I can jump a little more into it and turn this room into something a little more appropriate. We'll see. But thank you for having patience and like understanding. Hopefully you understand that it's just not something I'm able to spend all of my free time doing. You know, that's being a grown-up and still being into retro video games. But it's still fun to put on my man-child hoodie and geek out with a little bit of nostalgia. But I'd love to know what your experiences are like, where you're at, and like what video games have been for you and what they are now. So, you know, chat about it in the comments, or let me know if we should do a live, and then we can just kind of have a powwow together about that. It is sort of a difficult thing for me, because my life, as what it's turned into, has sort of been trying to avoid materialism and possessions as much as possible, and the video games are kind of the one place where I fail at that, because that's the one thing that would be, you know, difficult for me to really jump right into stoicism. I'm kind of trying to do that with the PS5 now that I have one, though. That's why I don't have many PS5 games, is because I've noticed PlayStation owners tend to buy a game when it's new, and then ideally play it and beat it and then sell it while it still has value, and then go and buy a different game. So that's sort of what I'm aiming at. Like, not a PS5 collection. Maybe like a couple games, but my Nintendo Switch collection has gotten a little out of hand. And it's cool that's available for people. You know, you can buy a game that is new and then watch it double or triple in value, or more, depending on the title. And I suppose you could still do that with retro games. Like, I picked this up last year. I think I paid $100. I made a bid for it, and then didn't really want to spend that much, but now it's worth $200, I guess. Is it worth that? Probably not. But you can't get a copy for less than that unless you're really fortunate. Ugh, I'm getting into it again. This is why this is a problem. And this is just such a small... Yeah, it's a hobby. I'm into video games. I'm also into this channel, and I'm into finding more scrap. And I'm into going on the hunt, which is something that's been missing, and I know that. It's mostly just been pickups. So, when I get back... Ooh, spoiler alert. I've actually been doing a bit of vacationing with family, and by the time you guys see this, I'll probably have already finished and returned. So, coming soon, right away, I want to go and do some more actual trash picking, some actual dumpster diving. That's where my interest is, so you can look forward to that on the next one. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for keeping me company. Thanks for leaving it better than you found it. Keep doing the thing.